All right, and we're recording. So, you guys, I am so glad to have you on tonight's call. Welcome the Fit Life and the Fit Force. I love how we somehow managed to have similar team names. I don't know how we did that, Sharon, but it worked out perfectly. It was like we planned this years ago. But on tonight's call, I am so stinking excited that Brad A agreed to speak for us. So, Brad, I think I met you at Super Saturday the first time a couple of years ago, gosh. And I was like, I don't know who he is, but I love his vibe. Just total, brought the house down with his amazing positivity, his passion, his workout, which was killer. And I was like, how is that dude working out and talking at the same time and not dying? But just a few stats about Brad. And I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up, Brad. And if you guys saw it in my post in the Fit Force, so he's a 5-star diamond, 2015 premier coach, a live instructor, full-time Beachbody coach, engaged to his super awesome fiance Janice, and he has the cutest stinking dog ever. So go stalk his profile just to see his dog. But he has had 44 consecutive months in Success Club. 42 of those months have been Success Club 10, Success Club All-Star Legend. That is huge. That is just proof of the consistency in this business and obviously the magic he brings to the play with what he does with his business. So I'm super excited. I don't want to talk too long because I want to give you the minutes we have, Brad. So share with us. I know you had a favorite topic you were going to talk about with a totally different way of goal setting, and I want to hear it.
Yeah, I am so freaking pumped to talk to you guys tonight. It's awesome. I've just loved every interaction I have with Brandy, with you for just such a long time. And before we really get started, I think it's important that we all take a second and just completely agree by showing in the comments section just how freaking grateful this team should be to have a leader in Brandy. I think that's one of the most amazing things, to have a leader that pours their heart and soul every single day into helping their team grow and their team progress, when it's so obvious with her heart how much she just wants you guys to succeed. And I think that's so freaking cool. So type some love in the comment section about Brandy and show her some love in there, because she's seriously awesome. And just so I know, am I on the 40-minute time clock, or am I in the full? How's that working? Do you have the limited Zoom?
No, you're right around 40 minutes.
Okay, it's right around 40 minutes. Okay, so I will go fast then. So I'm pumped to talk to you guys tonight, and we're going to talk about goal setting, but it's going to be in a completely different way than normal. And I really want to get down to the psychology behind why we do what we do, why we take action on the goals that we have. And so this isn't stuff that I just came up with. This is stuff that I've consistently learned through personal development. And this will show how diving into that vital behavior really plays an important role, not just on your business, but on your quality of life in general. So if you're dissatisfied in any way in your business whatsoever, raise your hand if you want more. I do too, right? Then this will be a gem, right? If you're dissatisfied, it's a gem as long as you use it, right? So all you guys came prepared with this big vision of what you want out of Beachbody. Right? Everyone has that. And so I want you guys to write that down on your sheet of paper in front of you right now. And ask yourself this: why don't we ever achieve goals? When we have these big goals, this big vision, why is it that we don't achieve those things sometimes? And that's kind of a hard question to ask, but think about this. When people fail to achieve what they want, it's really simple. The biggest illusion that we have in our life is that we believe we're missing the resources to make something happen. Some fear in our mind has convinced us, and this is in relation to coaching, but it can go for all categories of life, that we don't know enough people, or we don't know how, or we don't have the time, or we don't have the money. But guys, that's BS. That's not the problem. The problem is the lack of resourcefulness. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. And guys, this is so much easier to teach than it is to apply. So this is still something that I struggle with myself. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm perfect at this or got this all down. This is just what I've learned and how it's helped me progress and grow in my business. So let's use the example of the most basic thing that we need to do as coaches to make sure that we're progressing our business. That's Success Club, right? The minimum expectation to make sure that you are on path for business growth. And we always hear things like, I don't have time for more conversations, or all these people are saying no, or I'm getting money objections, or people think Shakeology isn't necessary, or whatever it is. And we always hear these things. And I'll let you have that illusion for 1 second. But now I want you to picture the person that you love the most in your life for just 1 second. Picture that person. Maybe it's a baby that you just had. I know there's a baby hopping on the call. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe if you're not married, it's a best friend, whatever it is, a family member. Think about what really makes you feel so happy around them. Like what makes you love them so incredibly much. And think about the experiences you've had with them. And now I want you to imagine for 1 second that you found out that they had 10 years to live. And that's it. Just 10 years to live. And you can't leave your job, right? Because you got to pay for their medical treatments. You actually have to work more. But you also know there's this amazing opportunity that can allow you to stay home with them and experience the rest of those 10 years together. So think about this. If you know that Success Club is the way to make that happen, how hard would Success Club really be? Like, think about that. How hard would Success Club 5 really be? Would you be worrying about, I don't know enough people, or all these people are saying no to Shakeology, or I don't have the time? No, you're not worried about that. Success Club 10 would be a joke, right? It'd be incredibly easy because you have purpose. You have a reason for pushing, right? If I told you, hey, your kid's going to die tomorrow if you don't find this prescription drug that costs $20,000. If you don't pay $20,000 for this prescription drug, you would find a way to do it, right? You'd find a way because you have a purpose. You have a reason. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you don't have enough reasons, right? We all are getting what we have to have. Your purpose, like there's a great quote that I live by, and that's when your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. You just do. You find a way to make it happen, right? And so that right there proves that the biggest illusion that we have is we're missing the resources to make something happen. The real issue is the lack of resourcefulness. That's it. So how we get resources is really, really simple. It's human emotion. Emotion is the driver of finding these resources to make these goals happen. Like, what's the way you're thinking about your problem? Are you frustrated or overwhelmed or bored or tired or lazy? Or are you really, really determined and passionate and excited and pumped up, right? Like, aren't each of those states going to make a different course of action that you take in your business? Like, if we get out of our own head, when we're emotional about something coming true, that emotion is going to drive your resourcefulness and lead to different decisions, right? Every outcome you have in your life and in your business is driven by your choices. It's fathered or mothered by a reason in your mind. If you wonder why your life is the way it is right now, look at the choices you've made over the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's going to give you a damn good indicator of why you are exactly where you are right now, right? So look at some of the decisions you've made. Like, let's talk about something as simple as Success Club. In that month that you did not hit Success Club, did you invite a bunch of people? Or did you just post a couple things up on Facebook and invite 3 or 4? What decisions did you make about the actions that you took? Right? And you can apply this to every category of life. And sure, you could say things like, this happened to me, right? And I'm sure there's stuff that's happened in your life that wasn't fair, or, maybe your boss makes you work late, or even something as significant as a death in the family, right? And that would be tragic. And I'm genuinely sorry if that has happened to you. I really am. But I want to ask you this question. How did you respond? Right? How did you respond to that situation? In those tough times, what was your decision on how you responded? Did you decide to let it completely control you, or did you decide to do something about it instead? So there are 3 decisions that you can make in any situation, any split second, that will literally change the outcome of whatever you want. So the first is decide what you're going to focus on. If you focus on fear, it's going to become very, very real. If you focus on how you don't know enough people or you don't have the time, of course you're never going to have the time, or you're never going to find the right people. Because think about this. If you focus on how can I find more people, how can I make more time, you're going to be able to figure out the answer, right? Your brain won't be able to tell the difference between a vivid desire and reality, and you're going to find a way to be resourceful. So many people focus on things they can't control, right? But if you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, the meaning you give to different situations, you can be happy. So whatever you focus on in life, you're going to feel regardless of if it's true or not. There's a great quote that I love: focus equals reality to the individual, even if it's not reality in actuality. That's a great quote to think about. What is your focus on right now? Is it focused on how painful it is putting up that vulnerable post, right? Or is it focused on how that could inspire someone? Where's the focus going? Because either way, it's going to feel real depending on what you focus on. The second decision is, what does this mean to me? And we'll cover more on that a little bit towards the end of the call. But what you associate with any experience in your mind will become reality, and that will make more sense towards the end of this call. And the third one is, what am I going to do? Right? What action am I going to take? Those first couple decisions you're going to make are going to completely change this last one. If you're disappointed or angry or sad or frustrated, aren't you going to do something completely different than if you're grateful or happy or passionate? Right? Like, how would the outcome change? If you're worried or overwhelmed, aren't you going to act completely differently than if you're determined and passionate? The meaning you choose, keyword choose, to associate with every situation determines the action that you take. And how you get good at this is you practice, guys. It's not going to be easy to change this. It's like if you're writing with your right hand legibly your entire life, and I come up to you one day and I say, hey, if you write with your left hand legibly, really, really nicely, your entire life will change in such an amazing way. And you start trying to write with your left hand, but it's not legible. So you go back to what you're used to in writing with your right hand. You have to practice writing with your left hand if you want to get good at it. You have to condition your mind to think this way. You can condition your mind to change how you feel. Every situation and every circumstance can be a powerful thing in your life with practice. All of a sudden, not knowing enough people can mean there's an opportunity to go meet more people. All of a sudden, being stuck at the same rank can mean there's an opportunity to break through a plateau and learn and grow. All of a sudden, being dead broke can mean there's an opportunity to go learn financial literacy, right? Like, there's so many things in your life that you can change the meaning of. I used to blame my mom for so much of the circumstance in my life until just recently. I blamed her for, like, when I was growing up, I used to feel so inadequate every single day. I would get in the door from school, and most days it would be this vibe of, screw you, go to your room, I don't need the opinion of a punk kid, right? Most days of my life growing up. And then there was the money situation, right? My grandmother was kind enough to save $50,000 for me to go to college, and that was gone when I got to school. And I went into a lot of debt. It was stolen. And then there's the relationship she had with my dad, the screaming matches in front of us kids every single day growing up that led to a divorce. And I used to be, and it led me to really think that marriage equaled pain. And that's why it took me so long to get engaged to her. I believe that marriage equaled pain, right? And all these things I blame my mom for so much. And now my relationship with my mom is not perfect, but it has improved quite significantly because I changed the meaning of those things in my life. Without my mom treating me like shit as a little kid, there is no way in hell I would be as driven and passionate and excited as I am today to be happy and outgoing and just go lucky with people in their lives, right? Without that money being taken, there's no way I would have this hunger and this drive for financial abundance. Without that example of her and my dad's relationship, there's no way I would be as good of a fiance as I am to her, right? So think about that. What situation in your life are you blaming with your business, with your relationships, anything outside of Beachbody too? What are you blaming? What situation or person? What's convenient to blame? And if you're going to blame them for the bad stuff, you better blame them for the good stuff that came out of it too. Because the things that happened in that situation with my mom, those are very, very real. Those stories are real, right? But without that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And how you get good at that, how you condition that, is you have to condition your mind by focusing on being grateful for the things you want to come to happen in your life and being grateful for the things you already have. I do this exercise called priming from Tony Robbins. If you go to tonyrobbins.com/momentum, and if you guys need that again, just ask me at the end here. tonyrobbins.com/momentum. And it takes me through an exercise that focuses on being grateful and focusing on what I want, right? And it conditions my mind to think differently. Instead of what I don't want to happen, I focus on what I do want. right? Think about this. If you wake up and you sleep through your alarm and your spouse is out the door already and you bang your head on the nightstand and your dog shits on the carpet and you're just having an overall bad day and your boss makes you stay late and you get home late, you miss dinner, your kids are already in bed, you don't get to give them a kiss goodnight, and your spouse is mad at you that you're not home on time. Would you agree that's a pretty bad day in most people's lives, right? Let me ask you this though. Would your entire day change? Would your entire day change if the first thing you focused on every single day was, you know what, holy cow, I'm just so grateful that I have a job, when there are mothers in this world that don't know how they're going to feed their kids today? Or there are families in this world that live on $900 a year. In fact, most families in this world live on $900 a year, $2.50 a day, right? Puts things in perspective. If you're in the bottom 1% of America, you are in the top 1% of the world. Pretty grateful for that, right? Or what about, like, I'm so grateful to have this dog that makes me laugh and smile all the time, even though they poop on the carpet, right? It's still just hilarious, the things that this little guy does, right? Go stalk my dog's photos. They're hilarious. And seriously, like, think about how would your entire day change, right? Like, would that still be an amazing day? Like, wouldn't your day go differently? And then when you get done with that, focusing on what you want to happen, the goals you have, being grateful for them coming true. Think about it. If I focus on how I don't know enough people, or focus on why are all these people saying no to me, or I'm tired today, or I don't have enough people to invite, how would my day be different if instead I decided to focus on creating financial abundance for my family? Wow, that's a little bit different of a focus, right? I'm pumped today because I get to create financial abundance for my family and give them the freedom of choice in their life that they want. I'm just grateful for that opportunity to be able to find something I'm actually passionate about when there are so many other people in this world that hate what they do. Hey, little man. And so think about that. How does your entire day change, right? Are you worried or are you really pumped up? Your view of life literally determines your future, literally. So every single day, condition your mind to be at its best and focus on being grateful and on what you want, and all that anxiety and that overwhelm and that depression and that fear, you start not to notice it as much. And sure, it'll slip back in. It happens to me today, to be honest. It slip back in. But you can condition it and it doesn't happen as much, right? You're going to slowly start to notice it go away, and it's going to be replaced with feelings of excitement and passion. Guys, if you're stressed out in your life, that is literally just a code word for fear. Stress literally comes from associating the meaning that something is more important than it really is. If you don't get Johnny to soccer practice on time and you're not home to cook dinner, is it the end of the world? Or do you really still have this amazing family and amazing life? You're still breathing, right? Everything's going to be fine. When you release attachment to something happening and just be okay with being committed to shooting for a goal or a solution, but not being attached to it, stress disappears because you're focused on what you can control and you're excited. If you train your mind like you train your body, right? Condition yourself to be at your best, the quality of your life will be in direct proportion to the quality of your emotions on any second-to-second basis. Because guys, in any moment in time, you can be upset about anything because what's wrong is always available. There is always something wrong that you can choose to focus on, but so is what's right. So push against those problems instead of giving in to them. Every single person has problems, guys. Everyone does. The only people that don't have problems are dead, right? They're in cemeteries. If you don't have problems, you don't have a life. And there's a great quote that I love from Tony Robbins. Problems are literally the resistance that you push against to sculpt your character. That's what a problem is. So don't make the problem wrong. It's making you better. So take this and make the primary emotions of life the ones you actually want, because you literally control it. And when you view your life as amazing and extraordinary, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody around you, and people give it back. People will give it back to you. So I don't know how we're going to do on time. How much time do we have left, Brandy? We got about 20 minutes. Let's try to do this. Let's try to fly through and see if we can make it happen. So the next piece is, are we good on time?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a little bit less, Brad. We'll probably have closer to like maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Then I will skip over this part and I will make a video for you guys and share it with you guys for your team page. So repetition is the mother of skill with this, right? You get good at this by continuously practicing, but just understand that avoiding this is never going to work. You're never going to be able to escape your way to fulfillment. That's a big point. You'll never be able to escape your way to fulfillment. So your big goal this year is literally a couple of mental decisions away from coming to fulfillment. That's it. If you get to the point where you absolutely must change, you'll do it. If it's a should, you're screwed. If it's an I'll try, it will never happen. Think back to the beginning about that terminal illness example that I gave, right? If you must create the time to spend with them, then all backup plans go out the window and you just do. But you got to be unreasonable about this, guys. Don't settle for what someone says. Even your spouse, they don't understand this. Don't do what most people say. If you agree with most people, you're in big trouble. Right? Most people are not going the direction that you want to go. My grandpa always used to say, yours is the obligation to make yourself stand out from the crowd. Do that. Be unapologetic about it. Don't give in to that. Break away from a culture that tells you to be less than you can really be, because people are going to try to limit you, but it's literally in your head. If I listened to people in the beginning about their opinion of Beachbody, and granted, I'm not where I want to be in my Beachbody business, but I am further than where I would be if I would have listened to them. I wouldn't have traveled 100 days in 2016, right? I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you what difference this can make when you don't give in to someone, right? So whatever you focus on consistently, you are going to feel. So if you have big dreams of leaving your job, retiring your spouse, whatever it is, you can have that. You just have to condition your mind to focus on practicing so much, associating so much pain to not doing the action that it takes, that you do it. And it will help you get out of that life that you aren't really happy with, but you aren't unhappy enough to do anything about it yet, guys. All Beachbody is, it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to get you to your purpose. It should never be your life, right? And I'm going to give you a little tip. It's made a huge difference in my life. Whatever you want to feel, give it unapologetically. Whatever you want to feel, give it unapologetically. Most people want to feel significant or loved or important. I know I do, right? I know Brandy does. Everyone does. But think about it with your inviting. Like, think about how you'd make them feel if you try to make them feel the same way that you want to feel. Like, even if they decide not to move forward with this, isn't it still a positive experience? Think about that for a second. If you say, hey, I'm running a challenge group, I need 3 people, and they avoid you, and you see the seen at 5:02 p.m. message on the messenger, right? How many people have seen that, right? Like, think about this. How would it be different if instead you said, you know what, hey, Brandy, I was thinking about you today, and seriously, I just love following your journey. And ever since I met you in Grand Rapids at Leslie Super Saturday, you've always just been so nice, and it's been so great getting to know your husband a little bit, and you're seeing the pictures of your kids, and I had no idea we lived so close to each other. That's so awesome. I know you're working a ton of hours right now, and that's why I wanted to reach out. You know, I'm running these groups that are meant for really, really busy people, to help them find some fitness and nutrition in their life and have it be not a burden on their day. And I'm wondering, have you ever considered taking a look at something like that? By the way, how's your dog doing, right? Like, think about that. Give what you want to feel, and you're going to feel what you gave. Because if you say, hey, I'm running a challenge group and I need 3 people to join me, don't you feel pretty crappy, like they were just a pawn? But like, what if you go the other way, right? What if you try to make them feel loved and important and significant? This business is about authentic relationships, right? Give that and you'll receive it back. There isn't a secret here. You know the vital behaviors. So instead of asking, what do I need to do? Because you already know what you need to do. Ask yourself, what's the result that I want? Focusing on what you need to do just makes you feel overwhelmed, right? Focusing on what you want, though, it'll make you feel energized and excited. But you've got to be honest with yourself about where you're at. Honesty is freedom. Nothing's going to get better until you admit that something is off. And so what I'll close with, guys, is the power of emotion and thinking beyond goals, thinking bigger than Beachbody or about rank or success club, thinking about your life. Our lives are dictated by the emotions that we feel the most often. So even if you don't like that emotion, it's where you live. If you leave your house, even if it's messy, you're going to come back. Right? When people say, I'm just a procrastinator or a depressed person, I call bullshit. And the reason for that is because I guarantee you, if you're naked standing in the mirror, dancing around with your arms up and Justin Timberlake on the radio, you're not feeling depressed. You're not feeling angry. You're not feeling tired, right? Those emotions are things that we do. They're patterns that we run in our life, right? If you set the temperature to 75 in your thermostat and it's 85 outside, that's going to bring it down. Right? Those emotions that you feel, the anger, the stress, the depression, whatever it is, those are very real. And it's not saying they're wrong in any way, right? I respect the emotion very much. Those are very real, but it's about using it and removing yourself from the emotion. Observe that you feel that way and using it to create a positive change. Understand something here, guys. How you feel in any moment in time in your life is never, ever based on the experience. It is never based on what happens in your life. It's never based on what someone says or what someone does. It's based on the meaning you give to it. So if I open the door for Brandy and she's pumped up about it, she's really happy. Why is that? It's not because of the event. It's because of what she associated me opening the door to me. Because if I open the door and she's all pissed off about it, thinking I can get it myself, I don't need you, the event never changed. She just associated something completely different. So whatever you're feeling in any moment in time is never based on the experience, but your interpretation of the experience, how you represent it in your mind. Represent literally means represent, right? So whatever you're feeling is never based on the experience. So if something is a negative emotion, don't deny it. Welcome it and learn from it. An amazing example to prove to you what I mean. Close your eyes for a second. We got just under 8 minutes in here. There's plenty of time for this. So close your eyes for a second. Actually do this. Close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that goal for a second. And think about it. And I want you to really put yourself in a state of mind of really hoping that it comes true. Like, what do you feel when you hope for it? Imagine the emotions that come to mind. What do you feel hoping that it comes true? When you really hope it could happen, and feel that for a second. And keep your eyes closed and imagine that same exact goal. Only this time, put yourself in a state of complete and total expectation that is happening right now. That goal is coming true. You are going to be able to leave that job. You are going to be able to retire your spouse. You are going to be able to save for your kids' college educations. You are going to be able to move to a new house. It's happening right now, and you know exactly what you need to do to make it happen. What does that feel like? Feel that inside you right now. Think about that. What's the difference? You guys can open your eyes, but think about that. What's the difference? Hoping is passive, right? You focus on both possibilities, that it could happen and that it might not happen. But expecting, on the other hand, is intent. It focuses on one possibility. So when you look at those states you were in, you were able to hope that it came true, and it had one emotion. And you were also to expect that it came true, and that had an emotion. I just proved to you that you literally control your emotions by switching your focus. That's it. You just controlled your emotions. You are always in control of how you feel. And any negative emotion has a very positive purpose. It's giving you a signal that something has to change. It's a message for you. Don't make the emotion wrong. Use it. When you avoid it, it's just going to intensify. Like being overwhelmed. I believe it's not a bad thing to be overwhelmed. I just believe you're choosing to do it. Right? It literally just means that something's that you need to reevaluate what's most important to you. It means you're expecting perfection in an imperfect world. So guys, all this goes way beyond goal setting. This goes into why we do what we do as people. Beachbody is not everything in our life, guys. It's a vehicle we're using to hit specific needs. But those delays that you're having in your business are not denials unless you give up. You don't control the events. You don't control if someone says no. You don't control if a coach quits, if it rains, if someone says something crappy about you, if your boss gives you more work. You don't control the events, but you do control what it means to you. When you can see life as happening for you and not to you, and you trade your expectations for appreciations, your life changes instantly. So decide what you want your life to be about, right? Whatever it is, you can have that with this business. And think about this. This isn't going to be convenient. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be wrapped in something shiny. But something tells you there's something here. And when you can master this and you focus on being grateful for everything you're going through, you focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, and you focus on mastering your emotions, then you understand that you literally have mastered goal setting. because the results you get come from the action that you take. The action you take comes from the meaning you choose to associate with different things. And the results, or the activities that produce the results, are known to every single person on this call. And if you don't know them, they're in the training academy. The only thing that matters is what goes on between your ears. When you master that, you master goal setting, and then you can do what most people don't do. So instead of what most people do, which is shrink their dreams down to the size of their income or their business, you guys are one of the few that actually build your income to the size of your dreams. And then you can have a greater impact on life. You can help more people change their lives, and you can pay this forward and give it back. So Brandy, I will turn it back to you. I flew through that just because of time. Normally I go a little bit slower, but I want to turn it back over to you. I know that was a little bit long, but
no, it was not long at all. It was perfect. It's perfect. Brad, thank you so much. I mean, I am sure you guys, just like me, like I could listen to Brad talk all the time. In fact, Brad, I think we need to have a weekly like personal call. We'll just like drive Brad to my house, since we're
pretty close, right? We're like, what, 45 minutes an hour?
Yes. Like, and how crazy is that, you guys? Like, literally, he's at Super Saturday, and then we start talking, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, why don't we hang out? Like, really, we've been talking about getting together for like a date night forever. But no, like Brad, there are so many nuggets in everything that you said. And I know that every single one of my coaches that's on this call or listens to the replay, because I know people will definitely catch the recording, there are those take homes here without a doubt. And, you know, what we project, what we do in our lives, being overwhelmed, all of those things. I mean, we are human beings at the nature. We get so caught up in our circumstances instead of realizing that what we're projecting in what we think is really what our reality becomes. Like, there's so many things that you said that I wish I could just go back and be like, that and that and that and that, like have a Brad bucket list of things that I'm going to bullet out to my team. But guys, we have a few minutes still. We're not going to get kicked off. And Sharon, is there anything that you want to add for your team before we end? You guys want me to unmute you perhaps? No? All right. So if you guys have questions, now we'll do that. You can use your chat screen. You can unmute yourself, whatever you guys want to do. You know, if you have questions for Brad, if you have questions for me or Sharon, we have the time. So we can do that for a few minutes. And if not, we can also call it a night. Wait, Sharon does. I do. Question. Brad, how do you find your folks who share that vision and positivity?
I think, well, Sharon, to be totally honest with you, I've struggled with that for a very long time. I struggled with people that have a similar mindset for a really long time, and I learned something very recently. And it was because while I knew that and understood it, I wasn't living it myself. And like I could, like this call, for example, I would give something similar to train people, but I wasn't living it authentically in my life. When I started living it authentically in my life, sharing it with people, and actually being who I genuinely am as a person, then people like that started coming in. But before that, it was like I would share all this stuff, and I was attracting a bunch of people that just needed to hear that every single day. But once I started being true to myself and actually listening to the stuff I was teaching and living it, then things started to change with that. So I hope that answers the question. And then Dakota said, oh yeah, when your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. You just do it. I always make the joke, you don't need to wait for the magical lightning bolt of motivation to strike you in the ass, because it's never coming. Motivation is created by action. It's a byproduct of action. So a lot of people wait for that motivation when in reality, they need to create it. But yeah, when your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature.
Or waiting to be confident to do something. You become confident by doing.